Welcome to ConcreteX. Today, I'm interviewing Dr. Rebecca Homkes. So please tell me about your book. It's very exciting.
So the book is called Survive, Reset, Thrive, Leading Breakthrough Growth Strategy Through Volatile Times.
One of the things that hit me when I was reading the book was about the fact that actually we can no longer accept certainty as the norm. It's actually uncertainty and how we can prepare for that. And I'd like you to explain the difference between planning and preparing and how companies should really take that into account.
Yeah, it's such a great point because something that I've realized, and not just in 2020, we saw it again in 2022 with the outbreak of war, we saw it in 23 with fears about inflation, interest rates, we're seeing it now in 2024 with election uncertainty, is leaders will say, I'm just going to wait until this uncertainty passes. And eventually you have to say, uncertainty is the new certainty. We need to start building strategies and execution planning, knowing that things are going to change along the way. And that's a big trap of a lot of existing strategy tools is we almost assume change isn't going to happen. And if it does, it's a risk to be catered for. So I'm going so far as to say, let's not even call it strategic plan anymore, or call it the strategic planning process, because the word plan actually frames our brain to think this thing's not going to change. And I want us from day one knowing this strategy will and should change as the world around us changes. And so it's shifting from planning mode to preparation mode.
Efficiency versus innovation, where innovation, I believe, is key. Being efficient is playing it safe. Explain the three steps in your book. Survive, reset, thrive.
We like checklists as people, right? We, especially the industries we're in, we love checklists, right? And kind of filling all of those things out. You've got to embrace that growth is a loop, not a line. And you're constantly going to cycle through these three loops of survive, reset, and thrive. So survive is about stabilizing when there's a market or an industry shock. But I want to touch on what you just mentioned about innovation versus efficiency. The most powerful survive is proactive survive. So as a company, you've built this robustness in. You're running lean, but not too lean. You've got strong cash flow. And that means when a shock hits, you actually have less to do. So Thrive companies are actually doing innovation workshops in downturns. And in downturns, whereas others aren't. And when markets are frothy, they're actually preparing, right? So they're always prepared for this. So Survive, that's when you're preparing for and then reacting to a market shock. And then you've got a reset, and reset means change. And the word reset is a powerful word that I really ask people to embrace. You need to be prepared to change because Thrive companies are those who are constantly changing and adapting. So reset means change or adapt the strategy. And then you get back to being a Thrive organization, which is one that's always executing with agility and learning.
Give me some more detail about the loop and the line and some examples of how that works.
Yeah, I know it sounds a bit simplistic, but that's the best way to kind of think about it, is that we're very used to these linear planning models where we go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. But that's not what the real world is. Like the real world is these constant loops that you're cycling through. And that's what the survive, reset, thrive loop is. Now, that's challenging because once companies are thriving, they want to stay there.
I think future flexibility, we see it as a term used on warehouses, that warehouses can be future flexible, but it's actually the company itself that's future flexible. And I think being able to move from a situation where you're a deer caught in the headlights to that preparing and moving forward. And that also means maybe it means being in a loop, but you move past it and you can go faster then.
Yes, and the visual I like to explain is just imagine these loops constantly moving forward. So even as they're circling, you're moving forward. And that's where you get breakthrough growth. You know, linear planning and linear thinking will lead to linear growth. If you want to break out of that and have a breakthrough growth journey, you've got to employ this loop thinking. And repurposing is a big aspect, not just of survive, but of reset. It's constantly saying, what assets can we repurpose as the situation changes? What business models can we repurpose? What teams can we repurpose? So this notion of constantly repurposing and partnering, and again, optimizing for robustness, not efficiency, those are things that actually help you through all of the different 3 stages of the loop.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for joining us today.
No, thank you so much. And I'm so delighted that you read the book.
Yes, I did, and I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
All right.